Happy Friday. It's Fridays with Fagan. Ryan Fagan
There.
Joe Roderick here. And this is Cards Hub 365 presented by Gray Bar on Sports Hub STL, sponsored by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Cardinals, Phillies this weekend.
Yeah.
I love when the Phillies come into town. They have such a fun team, a fun lineup to
Good
watch.
lineup. Deep.
Yeah, I'm hoping to make it out to at least one of the games this weekend.
Yeah.
To any chance to. I said this, I said it when Mike Trout was here the first week of the season. I will say this again. I mean, I'll say it when the Mets are in town too. I mean, when there is a superstar out there, when there is a future Hall of Famer there, take every opportunity you can to go see them play, and that's the case with Bryce Harper.
Not Bryce
this
Stott.
weekend.
No,
I'm going Bryce Harper.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Bryce Harper. Any chance I have to go see him play, I will go watch him play, because it's one of those where you will look back on it and it's just it's one hell of a player.
Yeah, I know Bryce is he's had some ups and downs, but when you look at his body of work and where he's going, and and even like the hype coming in. I mean, this is a kid who's on Sports Illustrated's cover.
Early 16
Vegas prep. Yeah.
Yes.
It's really incredible to kind of see what he's done and the player he's become and the leader he's become on that team, even when he hasn't been necessarily healthy and producing at MVP level. Yeah, he's one of those you got to watch.
My son begins 11U tonight, his season tonight.
Nice.
League play starts this evening. So this goes out to all of youth sports parents out there, because Bryce Harper, you remember the story. They got him out of high school and everything, so he could be drafted at a young age and start college ball and everything. Your son's not the next Bryce Harper. That goes to any youth parent out there that's watching this show right now, that, your kid is not the next Bryce Harper.
Yeah, my daughter starts her first T-ball.
Yeah.
Kindergarten T-ball tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Ooh.
We were in the backyard yesterday and she was hitting right-handed, and she goes, "Daddy, can I hit the other way?" I was like, "Sure." She swung on left-handed.
Nice.
Hit it just as well. I'm
there
like,
you
we
go.
got a prodigy here.
Yeah, start that switch hitting, especially softball too.
Yeah,
Do
right.
that, just get that slap hitting down,
Exactly.
and she'll be good to go in a few years. Hey, we have lineups out today. We had sat here and we talked about what we were going to discuss on the show today, and I thought it would be a great discussion as far as what the Cardinals should do with the top of their lineup, moving Wilson Contreras out of the 2-hole. And you and I were going to sit here and we were going to have a big conversation about who should bat second, because I thought there was no way that the lineups were going to be out by 1:30 today for a 7:15 game. But thank you, Ollie, for putting the lineups out there as early as you did. Here are your starting lineups for the game today, as tweeted out by the St. Louis Cardinals. Lars Nootbaar is in left field leading off. Jordan Walker is batting second, and he is in right field. Brendan Donovan, your DH tonight. Nolan Arenado is at third. Alec Burleson at first. Pedro Pages catching. Victor Scott moves up to the 7th spot again. He is in center field. Thomas Sajaci again getting a start at second. And Mason Wynn is at short. No Wilson Contreras again in the lineup. So he had the last 2 games, they DH trying to get him out of this funk. You had the day off yesterday. Today, completely out of the lineup.
With Aaron Nola on the mound, I mean, he's a known quantity. He's established. Sometimes if you're trying to give a guy a break, you give him a break. You don't want to throw him back in against maybe necessarily one of the best right-handers in the league. I get that. It makes sense. I mean, I think, what we were talking about is if we weren't really talking about what are they going to do today, but it's if the funk continues and they want to shake things up a little bit, what do they do? I get that he's out of there today. He'll be itching to get back at it tomorrow. And, and I think long-term, I think he's the answer at number 2, right? I think the Cardinals' best lineup is him hitting there. The typical Wilson Contreras batting number 2, and that was a good choice at the beginning of the year to put him there. But at some point, you do have to do something, right? And you just said moving him to DH for a little bit, giving him a day off after a day off. That maybe this is the mental break he needs. I mean, who knows? But it seems like at least it makes sense.
Yeah, looking at his numbers in his career against Aaron Nola, 20 at-bats for Wilson Contreras in his career, hitting .250 with an OPS of 648. So not struggling
horrible
against him. I mean, that numbers right there, that's numbers you would put in a lineup every day. I mean, Alec Burleson, 182 average over 11 at bats. Nolan Arenado, 27 at bats, a 222 average. Honestly, he has one of the better numbers against Aaron Nola in his career.
I think career is one of those things you can look at, but you also have to realize what he did against Aaron Nola 6 years ago is, I don't know how relevant it is to today's conversation.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing is, I mean, you look at just the struggles this year, and it's the strikeouts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in spring training, he was making contact with everything he swung at. He was hitting the ball hard all over the place. He's just not doing that, right? And I think maybe Aaron Nola made it a little bit easier decision to sit him down. Like if we were facing if the Cardinals were facing a team that was, I don't know, down in their dumps, and they were throwing a pitcher that was fighting for his life, maybe he's in there. But I think with Nola being out there, it made an easier decision to give him a breather.
Give us your thoughts on the YouTube chat. Jump on in and let us know what you think of the Cardinals lineup changes for tonight. Jordan Walker batting second. No Wilson Contreras in the lineup for the Cardinals this evening against Aaron Nola, who early on in the season 0-2 with a 6.35 ERA, so not off to the greatest start this year.
No,
one of those starts came against the Yankees or the Dodgers, right?
Yeah. It's not been his greatest start to the season. I think Aaron Nola is one of those guys that you look through his career, and if you look through like the Baseball Reference game logs, you'll see stretches where he's like, man, is this it? Is this it for him? And then he'll run off 2 months where he's got an ERA under 2. It's not been the greatest start for him. It is not.
A guy I really, really wanted in St. Louis a few years ago. That was I really wanted them to go out, and he really didn't give anybody a chance, like re-signing with the Phillies as quick as he did.
Yeah, and it did. I mean, look, for a while, like the Phillies might not be that interested, in re-signing him, and I think that's what gave fans across the country a little bit of hope. Is like maybe the Phillies aren't going to do what it takes because they have Wheeler, because they have all these other guys that they had to re-up, coming up with contracts ending. It looked like they might not prioritize him, but they did, clearly.
Yeah. Jordan Walker batting second today for the Cardinals. As you look through here, you and I are well aware, and so I think is everybody else, that Ollie loves going with that left right combo. I think he loves it more than Aaron Boone loves doing it. Who do you think likes doing that more with their lineup?
I think that's a great question. Aaron Boone does love doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps when you can throw out there, Juan Soto left, Aaron Judge right, Jazz Chisholm in there too. I mean, he's got a lot of options.
This year, with Bellinger, adding Bellinger on into the mix,
he's been healthy,
being able to put him between Judge and Goldschmidt. Yeah, that's nice.
It is nice. I mean, it makes sense because you want to protect yourself, especially from late innings. I think it's not so much in the innings 1, 2, 3, 4, but when a team has if you have two lefties in the lineup in a row, you have a dominant lefty reliever. You don't want to have to make the decision if you're going to pinch hit, and you don't want to give them the advantage to key at bats in a row. And same way with the right-handers, but all of the Cardinals have more left-handers right now in the lineup. I think that's more of the issue. The balance makes sense, right? And I think you look at players, and not everyone has the standard splits, right? Lars Nootbaar hits pretty well against lefties.
Yeah.
But I think I don't want to say it's a safe way to go, but it's kind of a safe way to go.
Jordan Walker, so far on the year, we haven't seen the offensive struggles that we've seen in his first 2 full seasons. Yeah. It looks like he is a very, very comfortable ball player this year than what we've seen in any kind of pressing situation. Yeah. He's hitting the ball hard. I think 2 of the top 6, exit velocity so far early season in baseball. So that's nice to see. And now you put that up there top of the lineup and hope to continue on with getting that offense up and going with it early on.
And I think in an ideal world, when the Cardinals were looking at Jordan Walker a couple of years ago and thought, what could this guy be? Right. I mean, he had the potential, and you kind of look at a similar type of player, a Jackson Chourio with the Brewers. Like, he's obviously had more productive major league career than Walker has. He hasn't had the struggles, or at least he was allowed to work out of the struggles last year when he had a tough first month of the season. But he's been in the 2 spot for the Brewers a lot. And I think that's what you like, is you like a guy that has good speed, not necessarily like 50 stolen base speed, but at least good speed to leg out a double, turn a double into a triple, a single into a double, but a lot of power, because you still want power in that spot. And Jordan Walker could be that guy. He's not quite where Churio is right now, obviously, but I think when you look at what he could potentially be, and could he be a guy that, next year, in 26, 27 is in the 2 spot for the Cardinals if he develops? Yeah, I think he could be.
Chris chiming in the chat. Not sure I'd want to put that pressure on Walker just yet. If you're continuing to go that left, right. So one of what I thought initially in here, and I see another person has commented, top 2 should be Scott, then Wynn and Nootbaar.
Long term, yes.
It is hard right now,
Not now.
for me to. This is coming from somebody who, with whoever else I've been paired with since we started Sports Hub back in Sports Hub STL back in February. Anybody else that I've talked to about this, I have not been high on Nootbaar. I have.
I think we went back and forth a little bit, didn't we?
I have loved what Lars Nootbaar has done so far this year. Yeah. I think he has been fantastic in that leadoff spot. And I think he has set the table to what is leading the Cardinals to being a top 3 offense in baseball right now. I by the numbers, I think it's
been up there.
Top 3, top 5.
2 days,
I think it just depends on what you click on, what you're looking up as far as that goes. So I have no problem with leaving Lars Nootbaar up there, which does mean if you're going with the left-right, that's a righty has to bat second.
Right.
I really thought that we were going to see Mason Wynn get moved up there.
Yeah, and to Chris's point, I think because Wynn has had that experience at the top of the lineup, and because he's been hitting well lately, I know that a lot was made out of his first 4 or 5 games. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's
all of spring training,
right?
All of spring training.
Yes.
So
not just 4 games. You're right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's hitting the ball much better lately. His average is like 370 over his last 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
And he has that experience.
Right.
Whereas Walker, it feels like he has a comfort level where he was, and they'd moved him around a little bit, 5, 6, 7. I think he had 8 ones. He's been in the bottom half of the lineup. To move him up is a big change, especially against a guy like Aaron Nola. And then, the question is when the Phillies throw Sanchez in game 2 and Wheeler slated for game 3, is the lineup going to be the same? Is it going to depend on
Lars Nootbaar doesn't struggle a whole lot against lefties.
Not Nootbaar. So, I'm talking about the 2 spot.
But that's what I had thought. I initially had thought, if you're going to make all these moves, then you move Mason Wynn up there. And if you move him up there, you move him all the way to 1 and then go him 1, Nootbaar 2, then go down. But Donovan also, I think Donovan top 5 average now in baseball. Donovan's been a huge surprise in the 3-hole.
I think Nootbaar needs to be in that top spot. Yeah. I think he is the Cardinals' best option as a leadoff hitter for the entire year. And then you work the lineup after him based off. And so by the right-left thing, left, right, that's it. And again, as I said earlier, I think Contreras is the best option there long-term once he starts hitting. You can see when I like Wynn at the bottom of the lineup. I like what they've established with Scott and Wynn at the bottom of the lineup. Because, again, we talked about this, I think, last week. So many times in the past, the Cardinals, you get past like the 6th hitter in that lineup, and that's it, right? There's just nothing down there. Well, that's not the case when you've got like young guys. And that's why, we talked last year. I remember talking to Alec Burleson, because remember, he was in the 2 spot a lot behind Mason Wynn. And when those two were in those 2 spots at the top, they felt like they were in it together. Right. I remember Burleson told me one time, he's like, I feel like Mason sets the tempo, and then I just try to do what I can to feed off of that.
I love when Alec Burleson's hitting second. The contact he makes and the different things he can do with a bat. I love him in that.
The pop is nice in that 2 spot. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. But to the point that I think that's what having those 3 young guys in Walker, Scott, and Wynn down at the bottom of the lineup, it gave the bottom of the lineup a pop and I don't want to say excitement, but something that has been lacking over the last couple of years. And I get why you want to change it around because Contreras is struggling, but long term, I don't think it's a bad thing if those 3 guys are at the bottom of your lineup when the team is playing well.
You could tell that they were toying around with some other ideas. If you remember this weekend at on Sunday in Boston when they had Herrera batting second, and they thought, okay, if it's not going to be Contreras, we're going to put somebody up there with a little thump in their bat. So it's not as surprising that Walker's the one that they chose to be that second hitter, knowing that they had already kind of toyed around with, okay, Contreras was supposed to be your big top hitter in all offensive categories.
And he still will be.
I don't know about, I mean.
He still will be.
I don't.
What's today?
It is
April 11th.
April 11th.
He'll be just fine. But I think
he'll be fine. I just don't think. I mean, right now I'm pretty high on Donovan right now.
Hey, I mean, we talked about Donovan.
Yeah,
you know what I think he can be.
Who is it? Ben Zobrist. Ben
Zobrist comparison.
2016. Was that it, or was it earlier?
No, it was earlier. Yeah. It was 15. He was with the Royals, but it was his great year was with the Rays before that.
So, as you look at it, I'm not surprised by Walker being there. I'm very excited to see how that goes.
And I think the at bat that he had against Pittsburgh, coming in the extra innings with 2 outs, and they needed a run, and it was a good piece of hitting. Right, he wasn't up there.
Who was this?
Walker.
Okay,
when he had the RBI hit was the 11th inning, I think it was 12th inning, because they never scored. Neither team ever scored in that game. It felt like, I mean that was a good at bat, and I wonder if that kind of like played in the back of the mind. Okay, well he can give you that thump, but he can still do the things he needs to do, which is stuff that he hasn't done. I mean, there are pitches last year and the year before, the pitcher would throw the breaking ball that started over the edge of the zone and just dove out of it. That he just had no chance, right? He's been better at that, at laying off of that, taking better swings. Not every time, but he's been better with that. And I think that's a maturation that you're seeing rewarded here with this decision to put him in the 2 spot.
This is Cards Hub 365 presented by Gray Bar. Also, all content here on Sports Hub STL brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours, and baseball season officially underway. Time to step up to the plate with DraftKings Pick 6. Think of DraftKings Pick 6 as your fastball right down the middle. It's the easiest way to play for cash and take a shot at a big win. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits, better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
So if you missed it earlier, Jordan Walker batting second tonight. Phillies in town. This is Ryan. The only time that I think I'm on pregame this weekend nice. for that. But you have Aaron Nola tonight, Christian Sanchez going tomorrow, and then Wheeler on Sunday. If you are looking to make some Pick 6 selections, Kyle Schwarber's facing Miles Michaelis tomorrow. Just if you're looking to just get one of those picks in and build from there, Kyle Schwarber facing Miles Michaelis tomorrow. Just
Schwarber with 6 home runs.
With 6 home runs, yes. And 6 very long home runs.
Does he ever hit anything else?
He is one. As much as I said at the top of the show how I try to make a point to go get out there, see Bryce Harper play. I love watching Kyle Schwarber hit. Kyle Schwarber is what I really hope that like Alec Burleson would become. That is
or Nolan Gorman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not so much Nolan Gorman. I mean, I guess
Gorman's more Schwarber than.
You're right. Yeah.
Long way away.
Right.
But he's more Schwarber than Burleson is, I think.
But that would be that's what I want to see. I would love to have somebody like that.
Well, Schwarber's fun to watch hit BP too. Just man. I mean, every Cardinals fan remembers the home run of the playoffs that landed on the top of the scoreboard.
Yeah.
At Wrigley. And he is continuing.
He called that shot, by the way. He called that.
He called the top of the scoreboard?
He called it. He was going to homer off Segrist in that pitch. I talked to him after the game. I was in the presser there. I was in the little tiny little room that they just kind of tuck you back in for that. And I'm sitting there.
They've changed that now, by the way.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm on my phone waiting for it to happen. And I'm on Twitter, and there are reports of Cubs players in the Cubs locker room that were telling reporters there, Schwarber called that. And I can't remember if it was Schwarber, and I want to say it was either Rizzo or Bryant that were in the media room together. And I never ask questions. I fully avoid trying to ask questions during presser, because there are people that need to ask questions more than I do.
Yeah.
That are doing it like you for your jobs, that need it for articles and columns and stuff. But I saw that, and I grabbed the microphone and I said, "Hey, there's reports coming in from the Cubs locker room right now that you called that home run during the pitching change." And I want to say it was Chris Bryant. And MLB.com ended up writing a whole article on it, on my question for this, that I had that zero purpose other than just wanting to know.
Right.
MLB wrote a whole article on it after it happened. I think you could still search for it in there on MLB.com. And I think it was Chris Bryant just starts laughing because he knew it was true. And Schwarber goes, "Yeah, I did."
That's amazing.
That he was just, as he was warming up, he's just telling people, "It's like, I'm going to homer here."
The called shot is, I mean, it's a press box favorite, right?
Yeah.
Everyone loves to call it in the press box.
So but still from there, I mean, he's just one of a guy that I enjoy watching play. The Cardinals face, they'll go up again. You beat Paul Skeens on Tuesday. Wheeler and Nola should be nothing, right?
I feel like that's the way this season is going to be, right? They've got the potential. I mean, if you go into Pittsburgh and you lose 2 games, you win 1. You don't think they're going to win the one against Skeens.
Right.
But I think that's what this team can be, right? They have the pieces to beat really good teams. They're not complete enough to win everything, though.
I think it's the thing that we've talked about since that Twins series is the approaches that we're seeing at the plate, the offensive game plans that we're seeing Brant Brown come up with,
right,
in these situations where there's a lot of tape out there on Skeens. What his repertoire is, what he's going out there and trying to do, and what his game plan is on the mound. So Brant Brown has done a good job of countering that, and we've seen that now so far offensively this season.
Right.
With the Phillies pitchers this weekend, there's a lot out there on those 3. What they're trying to do. I fully expect Brant Brown to have them ready in all 3 of these games, ready to go. And there's not a whole lot of new faces, I think, in this Phillies team as a whole. Like, what's coming out of the bullpen. You know what's there.
Consistent. I think that, and the consistency is one of the reasons that they've been so good. Sometimes it does give you a little bit more information. Now, whether you can do anything with that information is always the question. But
Mitch Keller, who the Cardinals as a whole, as a team, had good numbers against. Mitch Keller went out there and shoved the other day.
The Cardinals have seen Kyle Hendricks a lot of times.
Yeah,
can't.
And he didn't completely shut them down like he had in the past.
I think you look back.
That's an anomaly, though. The Kyle Hendricks thing's just an anomaly.
You're gonna look back at this season for Kyle Hendricks, and his best games are gonna be
100. Yeah, and they always are. They always, and like I said this the other day with the whole for the years that Kyle Hendricks has dominated you and that Bud Norris once dominated you, the Cardinals deserve to own Paul Skeens for his entire career. It's fair and spare.
Balance it out, right?
Yes,
there you go.
Other news out of baseball today: World Baseball Classic announced their coaching staff. I've said this before many times. Any chance I haven't talked WBC, I will.
Yeah, I wondered if you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, DeRosa once again coming back as the manager of the team. 2 former Cardinals are very much present in this coaching staff.
Yeah.
Skip Schumacher is going to be the bench coach for Team USA. And Matt Holliday, the hitting coach, replacing Ken Griffey Jr. He was the hitting coach back in 2023. That's big shoes to fill.
I remember being down there when the USA was Team USA was playing in Phoenix, And just watching this interaction between Pete Alonso and Ken Griffey Jr. Outside the batting cage during one of the rounds of BP. And you could tell Alonso was kind of like alternating between like Ken Griffey Jr. and like having legitimate questions and seeing like Griffey like giving these things and doing this little, it was fascinating.
In Miami that year, there was whatever the off day was. There was not much media down there for it. It was like me, Bob Nightingale, and I think like one or two other people around the cage. And the Team USA guys were trying to talk Griffey into taking batting practice. And he was like, nah, I don't want to. I'm good. I don't want to. And they were trying to talk him into it. Brian McCann jumps in and goes, I'll do it. And he hits a home run. As soon as he hits a home run, Griffey turns and was like, I have to now.
Like, give me a bat.
To where Tim Anderson runs down into the tunnel and goes and grabs Griffey's bat. Mike Trout is taking off his batting gloves to hand them to Griffey.
Nice.
And like you mentioned with Pete Alonso, 20 guys crowd the cage and revert back to when they were 10-year-old boys.
Wearing their hats backward.
Every single person just watching in awe of Ken Griffey Jr. taking swings. And later found out, talking to Nolan Arenado later the next day about it, saying that there were like bets going on about whether or not that Griffey would homer or not. If he still had it.
Do you remember, did he?
He did. Oh, he did. Yeah. It took him a few, but he walked off after he homered. He ended up hitting a home run and walked out. And you just saw an entire team of professional baseball players acting like children because they got to watch Griffey hit a home run.
It'd be pretty cool.
Up close and in person. You have the rest of the staff in front of you. Any more notable names?
David Ross is the bullpen coach.
Okay.
There's a lot of former managers on here. Freddie Gonzalez is assistant manager. Brian McCann is assistant manager, as you just mentioned. Michael Young, a longtime Rangers shortstop, is there. Skip Schumacher is the bench coach. Andy Pettit, pitching coach again.
Back as pitching coach.
Yeah. So I have some big names on that roster.
When you have a team like that, I mean, it's fun to see those names and think back to watching them play. Like how much coaching to the pitching staff is Andy Pettit doing with this?
I think a guy like Pettit, I think he takes it really seriously. I think he really does. And I think you have almost more of a responsibility to get your guys ready because you're dealing with restrictions, right, from the teams. So you can only have pitchers for a certain number of pitches. They're facing guys they've never seen before.
Right.
And the pitchers on Team USA are going to feel pretty confident. Doesn't matter who is up there. They can throw their stuff and succeed, right? But you still want to give them scouting reports. You still got to work through all this. And I think the biggest thing is, and I've talked to DeRosa about this, is dealing with the restrictions that come with the usage and when guys can throw, when guys can't. And he's, I don't want to say frustrated, but he knows that he's not managing like he would want to because he can't. And I think that's the biggest challenge with the pitchers more so than the hitters.
Before we get out of here, one last time, just want to throw the lineup on the screen for those that are just coming in. At the end, you'll see Jordan Walker batting second tonight for the Cardinals. Lars Nootbaar is in left, Jordan Walker in right, Brendan Donovan DHs, Nolan Arenado at third, Alec Burleson at first, Pedro Pages behind the plate, Victor Scott II is in center, Thomas Sajaci is at second, Mason Wynn is at short, Andre Palante on the mound for the Cardinals. The Cardinals will be wearing their City Connect jerseys tonight. As they announced earlier today, they will be wearing those City Connect jerseys every Friday home game and brand new Friday Night Live events. I think it's $5 hot dogs, $5 drinks up in the Budweiser Terrace.
Nice.
So head up there tonight and say hi to Brendan Schaefer, who I think is going to be up there enjoying those and has welcomed anybody that wants to buy him a drink. You can buy him a drink tonight. He's not working. He is attending it. Yeah, he's attending it as a fan and is welcoming all $5 beers that you would like to buy for him.
$5 hot dogs too. He probably wouldn't turn those down.
No, he probably wouldn't. I told him that he should try the 999 challenge. He is very much against trying.
I don't even know what that is, but there's no.
You're not familiar with the 999 challenge?
I am not.
9 innings,
Oh,
9
that
hot
one.
dogs,
Yeah,
9 beer. Yeah.
No, I thought like specific to the Cardinals.
No.
Yeah,
There's
there's no way. Yeah, no.
Could you do it
Not
at
a
home?
chance.
If you were sitting at home, could you do that?
It's not a matter of could. It's a matter of would. I feel like like Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park's here. You're so concerned whether you could. You never asked whether you should. You should not do that. I want to be able to move the next day. Sorry.
That's well. Okay, you got to plan ahead though.
20 years ago,
the whole
20 years ago,
the whole thought of doing this though, you have to have a plan in place for about 48 hours because you have to plan leading up to that because you're fasting the whole day. Yeah. You're drinking a bunch of water to kind of offset all the beers, everything, but then you have to have just nothing going on the whole next day.
See, and I say this as someone who in college once we went a weekend and went to every single White Castle in the state of Missouri, right? Because there was like 27 of them between St. Louis and KC, and the rule was we had to eat at least one at every restaurant.
Okay, and how many total were there?
There was like 27.
Okay.
And then at the last one, we had a competition so you could eat the most at the 27th White Castle, and I won that. So I understand the challenge. At my age, there ain't no way I'm doing 999.
I tried. This would have been my junior year of college. This is back when the NFL draft was on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to go beer a draft pick. On that, yeah. I made it pretty far, but the rest of the day was not great.
No. No, you got to clear the schedule, man.
Yeah, you do. That's going to wrap up this edition of Cards Hub 365. We are presented by our friends over at Gray Bar. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Joe Roderick and Ryan Fagan with you. We will have post-game tonight. It is Stephen Carey and Sarah Daly on the post-game show this evening. So when the Cardinal game ends, make sure that you have liked and subscribed to this very YouTube page so you can get post-game analysis from Stephen Carey and Sarah Daly tonight when that game goes off the air. For Ryan, I'm Joe. We will talk to you later right here on Cards Hub 365, presented by Gray Bar, here on Sports Hub STL, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours.